going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I am bringing you your Dolphins at Vikings recap. Before I get into all of it, I want to give a shout out to TD from TD Phins Talk, the homie. I'm jealous as shit, I'm not gonna lie, because this motherfucker got all kinds of like national TV coverage. He was on some little video clip thing that they put together, and he's blowing up, man. I wish that was me. I'm super jealous, I'm not gonna lie. But good for him though, you know. Like I said, I wanted to give shout outs. It is what it is, you know. I'll get there one day, you know. I'll be there one day too. But you know, like I said, I wanted to give him a shout out. So good for you, man, and I'm happy for you. It's really cool. It's dope. It was actually really fun getting to see him up there, so good for him. So let me go ahead and get straight into this. We lost, obviously. We are now 7-7. The Vikings are now 7-6-1 with their victory. They beat us with a score of 41-17. So getting into the statistics, the stats for this game, we had 193 total yards. They had 418. We had 37 passing yards. They had 198. We had 156 rush yards. They had 220. We had 3.6 yards per play, and they had 6.6. No team lost a fumble. They did throw one interception. We were 16% on third downs. They were 38. We had the ball for 26 minutes, 44 seconds. They had it for 33-16. We had 8 penalties. They had 6. Ryan Tannehill was 11 for 24 with a 45.8 completion percentage, 108 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions, and a 59 passer rating. Kirk Cousins was 14 of 21, 66.7 completion percentage, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 112.2 passer rating. Rushing statistics, Kalen Ballage led the way for us. 12 rushes, 123 yards, 1 touchdown, and a 10.3 average. Frank Gore had 5 rushes, 14 yards, 2.8 average. Brandon Bolden, 1 rush, 12 yards, 12 average. KD had 1 rush, 6 yards, 6 average. Ryan Tannehill, 1 rush, 1 yard, 1 average. Dalvin Cook led the way for them, 19 rushes, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 7.2 average. Latavius Murray had 15 rushes for 68 yards, 1 touchdown, and a 4.5 average. Receiving leaders, Danny Amendola led the way, 3 of 8 for 30 yards. KD was 3 of 3 for 28 yards. Mike Gesicki, 2 of 3, 23 yards. K Stills, 1 of 3, 17 yards. And Bryce Butler, 1 of 3, 12 yards. Tyler Conklin led the way for them, 2 of 3 with 53 yards. Stephon Diggs, 4 of 7, 49 yards and a score. Aldrick Robinson, 2 of 2, 44 yards and a score. Dalvin Cook, 1 of 2, 27 yards. Kyle Rudolph, 3 of 3, 23 yards. Adam Thielen, 2 of 2, 19 yards. Danny Amendola had a fumble, but he didn't lose it. Defensive statistics, Minkah Fitzpatrick led the way for us. 6 solo tackles with an interception of 50 yards and a score, pick 6, and 2 passes defensed. TJ McDonald had 5 solo tackles. Bobby McCain also had 5 solo tackles. Rashad Jones had 4 solo tackles. Kiko Alonso, 3 solo, 2 assisted. Raekwon McMillan, 3 solo, 3 assists, and a pass defensed. Jerome Baker, 3 solo, 2 assists. Robert Quinn, 2 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. And Devon Godshaw, 1 solo, 2 assists, 1 sack, and 1 tackle for loss. And for them, Anthony Barr led the way, 5 solo, 2 assisted, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Danielle Hunter, 4 solo, 1 assist, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. Everson Griffin, 3 solo, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Eric Kendricks, 3 solo, 3 assists, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass defensed. Mackenzie Alexander, 3 solo, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 passes defensed. Ben Gideon, 3 solo, 1 assisted. Sheldon Richardson, 2 solo, 1 assist, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Xavier Rhodes, 2 solo with a pass defensed. Tom Johnson with 1 solo tackle, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. And Holton Hill threw in a pass defensed. Kicking, Jason Sanders was 1 for 1 on his field goal with a long of 25. And 2 for 2 on his extra points. Dan Bailey was 2 for 2 on his field goals with a long of 36. 5 of 5 with his extra points. Punting, Matt Hawk was had 7 punts for with a 50.1 average, which is actually really good, and a long of 63. Matt Wiley, whatever it is, had 3 punts for a 42.3 average with a long of 46. Kickoff return, Kenyon Drake had 2 with a 22.5 average, a long of 25. Amir Abdullah had 1 of 24 yards with an average of 24. Let's see, punt return, Danny Amendola had 2 with an average of 4, a long of 8. Marcus Sherrills had 5 with a 23.2 average and a long of 70. So there you go. There's the statistical breakdown and everything. Now, as far as the game goes, let's see. First of all, let me get to the 5 keys that to winning this game that I had from my preview. So number 1 was run the ball. We ran the ball all right overall. Sort of. Kind of. Not really. The only reason why our rushing stats were as high as they were was basically because of that 75-yard run that Kalen Ballage had, for a score. So that kind of inflated our stats. Otherwise, we weren't doing very well in the run game. Let's see. Number 2, protect Tannehill, play action. Yeah. About that. I'm going to say that 9 sacks is not really doing it. I don't think Ryan Tannehill was protected. He got sacked 9 times. 9 times. So, it's a complete fail. Complete fail. Let's see. Number 3, stop the run, get pressure. Complete fail also as well. 4, score points, limit points. We scored 17. They scored 41. Complete fail. Limit mistakes where possible. We didn't turn the ball over, so that's a half a win. Penalties, for the most part, we were okay. We did okay, but not great. So that's kind of, I guess, a neutral. I guess neither good nor bad. So that's a bright spot, I suppose. All right, so let me get into some things. First and foremost, also, by the way, of course, I got the post-game press conferences and for you afterwards. But let me go ahead and get into my assessment of this. So first of all, I know how fans are. I know how Dolphins fans are. I know how everybody's going to react to this. I know that, and frankly, I mean, TD was doing his a live show during his game, which, by the way, guys, I will. It's probably not going to end up being this season, unfortunately, but next season for sure. I'm going to have a webcam, a better webcam that I'll be able to actually do live streams with. So like during the game, I'll be live streaming and I'll do all kinds of other live stream stuff. Obviously, I'm gonna get my new camera before next season, and so I'll do other live shows and stuff before that. I just probably won't have it for this season to do like during our games, because we're probably gonna run out of games here soon. Anyway, so I know how, like I was saying, I know how everybody's going to react, and I saw, people being like, oh, Burke needs to be fired, Gase needs to be fired, everybody and their mother's brother, sister, uncle, cousin needs to be fired. And despite what has happened here today, I still don't believe that. I still don't agree with that, and I still hold to my belief that there needs to be a 5-year time period for this organization to have a chance, right? To give the people that have been brought in a chance to do some things. So I'll explain it again. So what I mean by that is that I believe from Stephen Ross's perspective, right? Because he's the owner. So from Stephen Ross's perspective, I think that the GM the VP of football operations and the head coach. So Greer, Tannenbaum, and Gase, respectively, right, should be given the next 2 years, point blank, period. That's it. Even if next year we didn't win a single game, and I know people are going to freak out and go crazy over that and so on and so forth, but even if that was the case, I would say still give them that next year. Give them 5 years. If after 5 years, hit the complete reset button. No patchwork shit. No, I'm going to fire this one guy, but keep this other guy. And look, I love Gase personally, and I really like Chris Greer. I'm kind of neutral, leaning a little bit more positive with Tannenbaum. He's made some not so good picks and stuff like that, but overall I think the past 3 years of drafts have actually been really good. I think that they should have the next 2 years regardless. If Adam Gase wants to make changes on his coaching staff, by all means, but I still believe even with that he shouldn't make too many changes. You know, if he wants to make a couple here and there, you know, whatever, or if he wants to get a new defensive coordinator, whatever, you know, that's up to him. But frankly, as far as I'm concerned, I do not think that there needs to be, you know, tremendous turnover this offseason. I do not think that we need to hit some fucking reset button. It's absolutely crazy in my mind. And I'll use the example that I used before in one of my previous videos. Think about if it was you and in your life, right? If you were hitting the reset button somewhere between once every 1 to 3 years, and you just like up and move to a new place and get a new job, and you just reset all this shit, right? How successful do you think you're going to be? How much of a chance do you think you're giving yourself to be successful? And not only that, but develop a system and create a system in which you can be sustainably successful, right? So to me, it's very anti-productive when fans get all wrapped up in their emotions and be like, oh, we need to fire everybody. Oh, we need to fire this person. Oh, we need to fire that person. Look, man, it's a team sport, and it requires, you know, things like culture and chemistry, right? Those are things that they don't happen overnight. They have to be built over a time period. So I absolutely think that they should have the next 2 years regardless. Like I said, I mean, if Gase wants to make changes, fine. For the most part, the roster, I don't think there needs to be all kinds of, you know, major overhauls either. I think for the most part, we're fine. And I know people are going to freak out about that too. But getting into, you know, the reasons for why we lost this game and why we've been having such struggles throughout the year, from what I'm seeing is, the number one thing is injuries. I mean, look, sure, were there at times breakdowns and execution issues and communication issues and maybe bad play, a bad play call here and there? Sure, that happens every game, even in our wins. Every game. You can't be perfect, okay? It happens every time, and you can't avoid that. You can do your best and you can try and play as clean as you can and whatever, but it's always going to happen. It's just that when we lose, you know, people are always just hyper focused on all of the negative things. And for some reason, people just seem to like refuse, you know, to like look at the positives and to try and, you know, be optimistic despite the bad stuff and, you know, whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to get on a tangent with that. So the first thing foremost is injuries. In this game, we were really feeling the 12 guys that we have on injured reserve. You know, we've been missing William Hayes and Vincent Taylor. We've been missing Daniel Kilgore and Josh Sitton. We've been missing Chase Allen and AJ Derby. We've been missing all of these guys. You know, Albert Wilson and Jakeem Grant. We've been missing these guys. It's been evident in the team's play. That's a huge reason why we haven't been able to execute properly, right? We were certainly missing Xavier Howard out there tonight. You know, so, and then in the game, during the game, Frank Gore came out with an ankle injury. Ziggy Hood came out with I think it was a calf injury, something like that, right? So we lost even more guys, right? I don't know that they're going to be long-term. You know, maybe Gore's going to have an MRI on Monday, so we'll see the extent of that. But he could be back, I suppose. You know, maybe we'll get Xavier Howard back for this next game. Ziggy Hood, you know, is probably going to be all right for this next game, but who knows, right? But so we have 12 guys on injured reserve. We had our star cornerback not playing in this game, and then we lose a couple more guys during the game, right? As the game's going. Not to mention, of course, our starting quarterback was out for 5 or 6 games throughout the year. So again, the number one issue with this team and this year, and it's a big reason why I don't think people just need to be fired. It's absolutely crazy. That's another thing that I find absolutely crazy about people in general and about fans. You can't control that. What the fuck is anybody supposed to do about that? It's just the nature of the beast, right? We get injured. Every team gets injured every year. We just happen to be the most injured team this year. Now, there was an argument about our strength and conditioning program, blah, blah, blah. People are trying to scapegoat that and find that as you know, to blame. That's not to blame. It's just the fucking way the cookie crumbles, man. It's not like we lead the league in injuries every year. It's just this year. That's the way it is. It's the way the cookie crumbles, man. So, that's it. That's the number one thing. The number two thing is this goddamn absolute fucking trash officiating. Absolutely fucking trash. The very first sack that Tannehill took, there was a face mask, clear as day, didn't call it. Later on in the game, on a sack, there was a clear helmet to helmet on Tannehill, no penalty. Both of those, no penalty. But then after that first sack on Tannehill, once the Vikings got the ball back, they called us, I think it was for like a pass interference or something, or a holding maybe. It was the weakest fucking thing I'd ever seen in my entire life. One of them. There have been a lot of weak penalties I've seen in recent times. But, and again, as I've said, I think in this game in particular, I think when it comes to the bad officiating, I absolutely think it helped the Vikings out more. Now, I'm not saying that the Vikings were paid off the officials. That's not what I'm saying, right? But the penalties that were called and the penalties that were missed certainly helped out the Vikings at the end of the day. Now, but again, I have said consistently, because I'm fair about it, that the officiating in the NFL has just been absolute garbage the entire year across all games. I've watched tons of games this season. You know, on Sunday, I got Sunday tickets, so I'm watching like 3 or 4 games like every week, you know, at a time. And I watch Monday games, Thursday games as much as I can. I've watched tons of games. And the officiating is absolutely horrendous. The NFL needs to fucking get their heads out of their asses and fix that shit. Now, I know they only care about money, and they're not gonna, because they're pieces of shit, just like our capitalist fucking crony motherfuckers that run our government. But, you know, hey, whatever. So that has been the second thing. You know, and I know, you know, I know people, most fans are probably not going to agree with the things that I've had to say here, and they're going to be like, oh, you're crazy, or you're just making excuses. No. That's the reality of the situation. That's the reality of the situation. We can't be, you know, running on fumes, so to speak, personnel-wise, and then constantly have the officials against us and expect to win games. And when I say against us, again, I'm not saying like teams are paying them off or whatever, but more often than not, it seems from, you know, my assessment that the officiating tends to help the other team. Sometimes it's just neutral, but it's far more often that they get helped out than we get helped out. There have been a couple times, I'd say, though, where we were benefited more, but it's pretty uncommon. But anyway, the point is, overall, is just that the officiating just in general is trash. So, and we can't expect, to win and win consistently when, we're, like I said, we're operating on fumes, basically. We've had to pull people off practice squad in the streets, to fill spots. And we just keep getting hurt. We had a few games there where, 2 or 3 games before this one where we weren't really getting hurt and losing people, except for we lost X, who hasn't been in for the past 2 games, which has hurt us tremendously. I think that we would have done so much better against the Patriots had he been in there, and I think we probably would have done better today. It certainly wouldn't have been quite so lopsided if X was in there. But then we lost more guys in this game. For how long? Who knows? At the end of the day, as frustrating as it is and everything, when it comes... So, there were a couple games yesterday, right? Saturday. The Texans won. That was good overall. The Browns beat the Broncos. That was good for us overall. Today, though, the Colts won, the Titans won, the Ravens won, and the Bengals won. All bad for our chances for the playoffs. All bad. We lost. Bad. Patriots lost. Good. Are we still mathematically able to make it into the playoffs? Sure. In fact, we're still technically mathematically able to make it in to get a division crown. For that to happen, the Patriots need to lose their next 2 games. They play the Bills and then the Jets, both in Foxborough. And we have to win our next 2 games. Jacksonville at home, Bills on the road. So, in reality, and if I'm being honest, the likelihood that we make it to the playoffs this year is pretty low. There is still technically, mathematically a chance, but I'm going to say that even if we win these next 2 games, we would have to get some... at this point, we would either need New England to lose their last 2 games and we win out, or we need to win out and then, the Colts need to lose 2 games and the Ravens need to lose their next 2 games. I think if they both lost out and we won out, that would give us the wild card spot. There's really about as little room for error as there could be. And as far as the Dolphins go, we absolutely have to win the next 2 games if we're going to have even that slim hope. So I don't think it's very likely we're going to make it to the postseason this year. I am still optimistic and hopeful that we can at least have a winning season, get to 9-7, which I know that, again, this is going to sound crazy to people, but even if we can get to 8-8 or 9-7, right? Finish out strong with a couple wins. I'll take an 8-8, 9-7 win and look at it from the positive perspective, meaning, again, we came into this year and nobody thought we would even win 6 games, right? And we technically have overcome that, especially considering all the injuries and the terrible officiating in the league this year. And it's not just this year, but it's been getting worse. I've been saying it for the past few years, and it's just been getting worse and worse and worse because of the greed of the NFL. So for me, the big thing is we need to have a good draft. We need to get our guys healthy. There does not need to be any major overhaul within the front office or their coaching staff or within the personnel. Should we upgrade some places and get younger at some places? Yes. But do it through the draft. And we don't need to even really be super active in the free agent market. Because once we get we think of it this way. Our free agency can be getting the 12 guys that we have on injured reserve healthy. That's a good start. Which also, remember too, interestingly enough, Dolphins, we have one of those 12 injured reserve players is quarterback Luke Falk. This quarterback class in this upcoming draft, from all reports and analysis, does not look strong at all. In fact, it looks rather weak. And so, for me, I do not want to take a quarterback in the first 3 rounds. Or the first 2 rounds for sure. I want to get an offensive lineman and a defensive tackle in the first 2 rounds. And in fact, frankly, even the 3rd round. If we were going to get a quarterback, I probably personally wouldn't want him until the 4th round at this point. Because I think Tannehill's the guy. I don't think this quarterback class is very good. I think we have definite needs elsewhere. And the free agent class is not all that great either. We do absolutely need to get rid of Brock Osweiler. David Fales, whatever. I honestly am just super neutral on him. More indifferent, really. But we do have Luke Falk, who we actually really liked last year and thought about maybe taking. But we were able to pick him up through waivers at some point. I forgot who had him. But so we do actually have a quarterback. And so if we do take another one, which, I mean, and David Fales is actually still, a young guy too. But, if we take one in like the 4th round, there we go. Now we got a couple young quarterbacks from last year's draft and this upcoming draft that we can, develop. So, like I said, I really don't think there needs to be any kind of crazy overhaul from the top or bottom to bottom anywhere, and I just think we need to get the guys healthy that are on injured reserve, get them all healthy, maybe do a little moving in free agency, and then just have a really good draft. I think the past 3 drafts have been really good overall. Have they been perfect? No, nothing's ever perfect. I know everybody's like got this we need to win immediately mentality and everything has to be perfect all the time, but that's absolutely crazy. So, look, I mean, that's my take on it. I know that I tend to have very different opinions than most people on pretty much everything in life. Pretty interesting. But anyway, so, I know that people are probably not really going to agree with my perspective and how I feel about it, but that's how I feel about it. And, from the things that I see, that's the most logical approach, right? Because it's not based off of my emotions, and it's based off of, the things that are in front of me, the data that we have. So like I said, that's how I feel. And so with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and, send you off to these interviews. I hope you guys enjoy my show. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. I do love talking to you guys. I love hearing what you got to say. I do, love hearing y'all's opinion about all this. What do you feel? Look, if you guys think, people need to be fired and blah, 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 all this, that, and the other, go ahead, tell me about it. Let's talk. We can disagree, it's totally fine. You guys know how I feel, but express to me how you feel, because I do like to know that. I do like to get a beat on, the opinions of Dolphins fans and stuff like that. So, be sure to tell me, don't hesitate. Don't be shy, nothing like that. And let's talk about it. And also, obviously, as well, make sure that you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, guys, I am out. I will see y'all soon. Fins up.
It's not good football if you are going to be inconsistent. And so I've said this, we've shown that we can do it all, really. We can stop the run, we can rush the passer, we can cover receivers, take the ball away, so on and so on and so on down the line. And then there's games that you can go back and look at where we don't. It's not can't, it's don't. So the reason, no idea. Way above my understanding, above my pay grade. If I knew the answer, it probably wouldn't be happening. But like I said, inconsistency, not complimentary. It doesn't work. Seemed good to me. Oh yeah, I don't know the exact quote, but they say disappointment is a disparity between expectations and outcome. So I was very disappointed today.
And when Minka gets the pick six, or what was the feeling on the sideline? Is it, all right, we're about to turn this thing around?
There's one play, and we needed a play. We needed quite a few plays, as it turns out. But see, things like that happen on the field too. What kind of preparation that guy have, I don't know. It was one play when we needed 7 more. So, always hats off to him, but I guess that was probably the last one, unfortunately.
Would you say that the wins the last couple of maybe we can get something going, maybe, we're on something here?
You know me, I'm not a believer in that. I guarantee you, if you go over to their locker room and ask them about the Miami Miracle and they don't give a blank about that, and we shouldn't either. It's 2 weeks ago, it doesn't matter. Today is today, and you have to go out there, and they're going to bring their A game and give you their best shot, and you got to go out there today. You can't. I say it all the time. I don't care if you won by 50, lost by 50. You can't let last week affect how you are today. You have to go out there and give them your best 90-mile-an-hour fastball, no matter what happened 2 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks ago. So I personally wasn't thinking about last week. I hope they weren't, because I guarantee you the Vikings weren't either.
Is the feeling right now that playoffs are slipping away or have slipped away from the grasp?
I'll be very honest with you. I don't know the formulas and the calculations, all things that need to happen. I know when you have an opponent in front of you, you have to take care of your business. All the what ifs and this happens, win. Let everything else, it'll fall into place however it is. You win your matchup, you take care of what you can control, and all the other stuff is outside of my perspective. I live by hope is not a strategy. You have to act, and we had an opportunity to act today, and we didn't.
Something different that they did? Was there anything that was unexpected?
From memory, I could probably say they probably didn't run any new play that we haven't seen before. If you go back and look, their personnel is good personnel like we've seen in the past, and we've stopped in the past, as I spoke about. We can go down the line. We've faced probably, top 5 running teams, and we've met the challenge. But it's NFL. There are no bad teams. Every team has good players. Every team has good coaching. Every team has an opportunity. And every Sunday in this league, you have to match and exceed the expectation. So that, again, 30th doesn't mean that much to me. Again, like I said, they're going to come out and they give you your best shot, and we have to step up to the challenge, and today we did not. I wouldn't expect that we wouldn't. I go in every game expecting to be what we've shown when we win and when we do the things we're supposed to do because we have the ability to. I say it all the time. It'd be different if we were just too small, too slow, too this, too that. Then we would just be getting run all over every game. But as you've seen, we can definitely stop the run. There's not a doubt we can. You can't pick and choose. Oh, this 2 weeks we're going to do it, and this month we're going to do it. It's that the NFL doesn't work that way, especially on defense. Defense, you can't go out and have 3 bad series. It just does. You're 21 points, as you say, as you see. Offense, maybe you can. And then you get back in, you have 3 good series, and you're back in the mix. Defense doesn't work that way. You have to play every single series, every single snap, no points on the board, period. And so I wouldn't expect anything next week and the week after that because that's what I expect every week. Again, that would if I knew the answer, it wouldn't be happening.
Physically, how do you become out of this game?
Physically, I'm fine. Didn't take anything that was lingering or it's going to hurt me in the future.
Talked about you guys planning for something. They look like error.
Yeah, there was a lot of error out there. I don't think we were good enough, at least offensively. I can't speak for the defense, but all around, I don't think, starting with me, we weren't good enough, I don't think, anywhere. So definitely have to be able to come back next week and get those things fixed because we've done it in the past. We've done it several times this year. We've played well. But today we just didn't come out and execute the way we can.
They were up 21-0. Was it like a hangover?
I don't know. I would call it a hangover. And I think throughout the week, it wasn't even, at least around me, it wasn't discussed. Guys weren't talking about it anymore. It was kind of, we talked about it Monday and then came in on Wednesday and it was getting ready for Minnesota. There wasn't a lot of talking about it or anything like that. So from my perspective, guys did a good job of moving on and getting prepped for Minnesota and not letting it bleed into the next week. But we didn't come out and execute from the first snap. I think they moved the ball right down the field, and when you get in that type of game, offensively you have to be able to answer. We kind of saw it last week. They were able to score early, and we were able to answer. And today, offensively, we didn't step up to the plate and answer. So we have to be much better.
What were they doing early on that made it difficult? Well, quite frankly, the majority of the game made it difficult to move the ball.
Yeah, they did a good job. I think we had a lot of third and long situations, which we knew coming into this game that was their forte. If they can keep you in third and long, they're going to throw a lot of different looks, bring a lot of different pressures at you, and it's going to be tough to protect. So that was one thing we talked about that we didn't want to be in. Unfortunately, we were, and we were able to convert on a couple maybe, but we have to be more efficient on first and second down and move the ball, early in the down.
You really didn't get the wide receivers involved in this game very much. Was it pressure? Was it not being open? Was it circumstances? Why were they so on the outside of the game?
Yeah, I don't think we didn't move the ball. I think we got down, and then some of the pass concepts we're trying to complete are down the field. You get third and long, the pass concepts are longer developing down the field, and they did a good job of applying pressure, and we weren't able to get the ball off. A couple times, I think, I have to look at the tape, but it seemed like we were going to have somebody open. It just takes a little time for it to develop down the field, and we weren't able to get the ball off. So I have to give credit to those guys for doing a good job in pass rush.
No long sacks today. Was there any mobility issues from your standpoint?
No, I don't think so. Obviously I'm not 100, but I felt all right moving around. Was able to get outside a couple times and was fine.
And you said there were 2 games left. What motivates you for these last 2 games?
We just got to keep plugging away. Obviously, things are out of our control at this point, but we just got to keep playing. You win the games we have left on our schedule, and whatever else happens is out of our hands. So, we have a big one coming up with Jacksonville this week at home. Want to play well at home and go from there. I don't know specifically one thing or the other, but we haven't played well overall. I think we've had a couple opportunities we let slip away, but today from the get-go it was uphill climb for us. So I think we need to play better all the way around.
So you've been on teams like 2016 you won the
Well, it's out of our hands a little bit at this point. We can control what we can control, but we're going to need some help. So ultimately, I like the fight of this team. I like the guys we have. I don't think there's any quit in this team. We've obviously faced a lot of adversity throughout the season, responded well at times, sometimes haven't been able to answer. So I just think we have to dig deep, come in ready to practice on Wednesday, and just play to our best. I think that's what it comes down to is going out and execute and just playing good football, regardless of what else is going on. Control what we can control and execute the calls the way they come in.
Is that the disappointment? Because that didn't look like that you meaning.
Yeah. No, it starts with me. We can all play better, and that is disappointing when we come out, have a big opportunity on the road, came in, confident that we were going to play well, and then things unraveled quickly for us. So yeah, it's a disappointment. It's frustrating. I wish I could put my finger on exactly what made that happen, and could have prevented it or slowed it. But yeah, it's a disappointment. I love playing this game. I love competing with these guys, and I love winning. So to come out and have this game go the way it did, it hurts. It's disappointing and frustrating. Yeah, I'm fine physically.
Last thing we needed to happen was get behind like that, because then puts us in a different mode on offense, and we fell apart on special teams on one of the punt returns at the wrong time. Just the whole thing. I mean, it's not like we've been dominating the run game anyways. We just had to hold up better than what we did. We didn't.
So they were 30th before today. Did they do something that?
It's hard to tell from the sideline. I know your favorite answer. See what happens when we watch the tape. It just wasn't good. Not blocking them. We had a couple chances where guys were open. We don't get it off. We just didn't block them well enough. We knew what we were in for as far as the pass rush. They just beat us. I don't know if it wasn't hard to tell where they were coming from. When 55 starts taking a sprint to the line of scrimmage, he's probably coming. Yeah, that's the decision every week. Where do we defer? Do we take the ball? We haven't done it. We haven't fared well, it seems like, on those first drive of the first half and the second half. But we just felt like deferring was the best option for us. If we could get the ball at the end of the half and swing it, which it looked like we were going to do. We had an opportunity to at least get points at the end of the half and then come out and score. And then everything just dried up for us on offense. We just couldn't get anything going in the run game. Got a couple here and there, and then every time we had an opportunity, the right coverage versus the route just didn't hold up.
Drake was used very sparingly, especially early on. Is that injury related or?
No, I mean, we just had different personnel packages. We were trying to put ourselves in a position to where we were using multiple guys. We knew it was going to be one of those games where we're going to have to use all those guys. So.
Coach, you go down 21-0. You look at your defense out there, and it seems like there's lanes everywhere. What did you see going on at that point?
Well, the first drive, like I saw a couple guys run out of their gaps and, you know, trying to make a play to stop the bleeding, which that's not what we need. We just need everybody to play discipline. And then after that, you know, it was just we'd stop them a little bit and then we'd let a decent one off and or like a 10, 15-yarder. We just couldn't consistently get a shorter drive. Everything just felt like it wasn't going right.
Did you feel like after the making interception and the large run, momentum shifted, did you feel like that was getting the traction you needed at that point?
Yeah, coming out of halftime, you know, felt like we had a good idea what we wanted to do drive-wise on offense, and you know, it was one-play drive. And you know, after that, we just could not get it going. Every time we ran the ball, something happened to where they pressured us, and we tried to make an adjustment, and then somebody would come free. And protection-wise, we were horrible.
You weren't able to get the ball to the receivers very much. I think Evan Dillon had a couple catches. So really, that was maybe one. That was about it. Was it just off our game plan?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to complete balls. I mean, you get sacked 9 times. I mean, we weren't open all the time, but we got open enough to where if we just get the ball off, we probably have a decent plays. I got to look at what happened this game first. I mean, last week, we played a team that came in and was running, you know, over 100 yards for 3 games in a row or something. And we did it right. We played physical. We played sound defense. You know, it looked like a lot of things were trending upward. And then this game, it just fell apart for us. I mean, I'm just, you know, we haven't won. We won 1 game. I mean, I guess the teams we're playing are just that much better than us. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. He had an ankle. I don't know. Past that, that's all I know. I don't know.
2 games left here. You look forward to
Yeah, I mean, we got to worry. We got to worry about improving on, you know, the positive things that we've done the last month. You know, try to get as many guys healthy as possible and go out and try to win 1 game. That right there.
Alright guys, you've reached the end of my video. This is the end of the interviews. I hope you enjoyed those. I hope you enjoyed my show. Also, as a whole, if you did, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Make sure you hit the like button. And please share your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. I love interacting with you guys. It's for you. This is for you. You know, and also follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. It's on the end screen. My Twitter handle is on the end screen if you need to know it. And with that, guys, I'm out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.